Hey Jefferson, second and third graders, how are you today? You hanging in there? It's been many weeks and many days, and I'm so glad we can connect over the internet and over video. So what's new? My hair's getting longer. Anybody gotten a home haircut yet? I haven't, but some people in my family have. What else have you been doing? Did you have a good Mother's Day? If you don't celebrate Mother's Day, did you have a good weekend? Really miss you. Today we're going to talk about friendship, okay? About what you do when people are different from you and how you can still be friends with them. How sometimes you feel different and that's okay. How it's not okay to leave people out when they are different, and what we can do about it, okay? Remember, we're always kind, even and especially to people who are different from us, okay? And when I say different, I mean they look different, maybe their size is different, maybe they live somewhere different, they speak a different language, they eat different food, their skin color is different from yours, okay? And what do we do about that? And what do we do when our friends want to play something different than we do? Or someone we want to be friends with does something or wants to do something that's different, even though we still want to be friends with them, okay? This is one of my favorite topics. We're going to also read one of my favorite books today and then talk about friendship. A Visitor for Bear. Can you do this if you've read this book before? It's one of my favorites. Ready? Visitor for Bear by Bonnie Becker. No one ever came to Bear's house. It had always been that way, and Bear was quite sure he didn't like visitors. He even had a sign. One morning, Bear heard a tap, tap, tapping on his front door. When he opened his door, there was a mouse, small and gray and bright-eyed. No visitors allowed, Bear said, pointing to the sign. Go away. He closed the door and went back to the business of making his breakfast. He set out 1 cup and 1 spoon, but when he opened the cupboard to get 1 bowl, there was the mouse, small and gray and bright-eyed. I told you to leave, cried Bear. Perhaps we could have just a spot of tea, said the mouse. Out, commanded Bear. Most sorry, said the mouse. I'll be going now. Bear showed him to the door and shut it firmly. Then he went back to the business of making his breakfast. But when he opened the bread drawer for 1 slice of bread, there was the mouse, small and gray and bright-eyed. Unbelievable, rumbled Bear. Away with you, vamoose. I do like a bit of cheese, said the mouse. Bear pointed a rigid claw toward the door. Yes, then, here I go, said the mouse. Farewell, and the mouse whisked out the door. This time, Bear shut the door very firmly and locked it tight. He locked the windows too, for good measure. Then, once again, he went back to the business of making his breakfast. But when he opened the fridge to get 1 egg, there was the mouse, small and gray and bright-eyed, of course. Be gone, roared Bear. A crackling fire, ventured the mouse. This is impossible, intolerable, insufferable, cried Bear, shaking with anger and disbelief. Terribly sorry, murmured the mouse. Now you see me, now you don't. I am gone. And the mouse looked very sorry indeed while he waited for Bear to unbolt the door and let him out again. This time, before he went back to the business of making his breakfast, Bear shut the door very, very, very firmly, locked it, boarded the windows shut, stopped up the chimney, and even plugged the drain in the bathtub. Carefully, Bear set about the business of making his breakfast. He opened the cupboard, no mouse. He opened the bread drawer, nothing. Whew! He opened the fridge, mouse free, yes indeed. He lifted the lid to the tea kettle. There was the mouse! Small and gray and well, you know the rest. Bear fell to the floor and wept. I give up, he blubbered. You win! I am undone! So sorry, said the mouse, but perhaps if I could have just a bit of cheese and a cup of tea. And do you think we could unstopper the chimney and have a nice fire? Bear blew his nose with a loud honk. But then you must go, he sniffled. No visitors allowed. You have my word, said the mouse. Bear unshuttered and unboarded the windows, unlocked the door, unstoppered the chimney, and unplugged the drain. He brought out 2 plates of cheese and 2 teacups. He made a crackling fire in the fireplace for 2 sets of toes. The mouse warmed his feet and nibbled and sipped, and Bear did too. They sat for a long while. The clock in Bear's house ticked loudly. Bear cleared his throat. The mouse looked most attentive. No one had ever been most attentive to Bear. The fire is nice, Bear announced. Lovely, said the mouse. No one had ever said Bear's fires were lovely. I can do a headstand, said Bear. Very impressive, exclaimed the mouse. Bear told a joke. The mouse laughed heartily. No one had ever laughed at Bear's jokes before. Bear began to think of another joke. The mouse set down his teacup. Bear quickly lifted the teapot. There's plenty more, he said. So sorry, said the mouse. Most kind, but I must be on my way. Really, you needn't go, said the bear. I am off, said the mouse, springing up from his chair. Wait, cried Bear. But the mouse stepped out the door. Toodaloo, said the mouse. Don't go, wailed Bear, throwing his body across the path. But I gave you my word, said the mouse, pointing at the no visitors sign. No visitors allowed. Oh, that, cried Bear, pulling down the sign and tearing it up. That's for salesmen, not for friends. Not for friends? Asked the mouse, small and gray and bright-eyed. Bear nodded. The mouse's bright eyes glowed brighter. Bear smiled. Do you like 1 lump or 2? Said Bear most politely. I like 2, said the mouse, and Bear agreed. How good is that book? Makes my heart happy every time. So, what happened to the characters in this book? Self-talk. Were they friends at first? They were not friends at first, right? You got it. Why do you think they weren't friends at first? Because Bear thought he couldn't be friends with Mouse, right? And why did he think that? Why do you think that he thought that he didn't want to be friends with Mouse? Because he really didn't want to. Remember? He even plugged up the bathtub and stopped up the chimney and closed all the windows. He really wanted Mouse out and did not want to hang out with Mouse. Do you think it's because they're very different? One's big, one's small, right? One had a house, one didn't. They look a lot different, right? Even we know one's big, one's small, but one's got brown fur, one's got gray hair. Okay. And what was Mouse doing? Yeah, Mouse was being really persistent. And persistent means somebody who tries something over and over again until they get it, okay? Do you think Mouse really wanted a friend? Yeah, he probably wanted other things too, right? I think he wanted some cheese and some tea, okay? But I think he also wanted a friend, right? And what do you notice about Mouse? Did Mouse ever get upset when Bear told him he had to leave? Who's the one that got upset? Right, Bear was getting upset. And Mouse was kind. Do you think that helped? Yeah, I think his persistence and his kindness really helped Bear change his mind. Okay? Did you notice that Mouse laughed at Bear's jokes and paid attention to him and stayed with him and sat with him? Yeah. So, have you ever felt different from anybody before? Or have you ever felt different from your friends? Yeah, and that's okay. You can still be friends, right? It's really important that you're kind, right? That you're a good listener, that you listen to your friends. It's important too that your friends listen to you and that they're kind to you, okay? It's important that you talk to your friends about how you're feeling. It's important to remember that if somebody looks and sounds different from you, that you can still be friends with them. That doesn't mean you have to do the same things all the time. It doesn't mean that you have to like all the same things. You can still be friends. It doesn't mean you have to hang out all the time. They can hang out with other people sometimes, and so can you. But what's important to remember from today's lesson is that it's important to be kind. People want to be friends with people who are kind. When you say respectful things, when you listen, and your friends should be people who do the same thing to you because you deserve that respect and that kindness. To listen to you, to be there for you, to laugh with you, okay? Thank you for listening today, Jefferson 2nd and 3rd graders. You're all really good friends, and I'm sure you will see your friends sometime soon. See you later.